Hi, everybody. I want to share with you our recent talk that we had about influencer, the power and science to change anything, as part of our executive book club at Stellenbosch Graduate Institute. It was really an interesting session. About 40 people attended, and we chatted about the book that came out in 2013 from the authors of Crucial Conversations, which was Influencer, the New Science of Leading Change. It's done by Grenny, Patterson, Maxfield, Macmillan, Switzerland, and it's available on Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. What was an interesting aspect of this book is that it's all about change and how we can influence people to change. Influence being very different from persuasion, where you can easily persuade somebody by forcing them, getting them into a state in which they have to respond. But if we influence, we really connect with people's motivations. We show a different way of doing things. And this book is all about how we can change organizations and do organizational development in a way that is purposeful and mindful. One of the most important capacities we possess is our ability to influence behavior. It is how we progress as a species, but most of us don't really think carefully about how we do that. And this book gives you a set of competencies and also a framework in which you can look at how you manage change and how you influence people in your environment. So it offers to give you the kind of most scholarly, proven, and powerful approach to exerting influence and ability to change your own behavior and the behavior of others. One of the questions that we had during the session is it possible to change people in organizations? And definitely it is. That is often part of a process where we must clarify the measurable results, identifying vital behaviors, diagnose why change seems impossible, and examine each source of influence. So in this short overview, we won't go into that. That's what the Executive Book Club is there for giving you access to these interesting ideas and to help you. But in case you want to, there is a very simple collaborative process that you could use, which is the start of the process in this book, which is to identify your shared goals, clarify your common values, identifying underlying issues and causes to some of the behaviors that you see, and determine the stakeholder impact and response, and correct any knowledge imbalance that you may have in your teams. This collaborative process systematically over time will give you a view of what's really going on in your organization and how you can adjust to that. Additionally, the book is about a framework in which we look at the motivation that drives people in different ways. And it talks about motivation on 3 levels, namely the personal, the social, the structural. And it looks at the motivation and ability with the basic premise is that there's only two reasons why people do things. It's because they want to or because they can. And if you're going to address something, you need to address it on those kind of 2 dimensions to say, if a person does not want to do something, we need to make the undesirable desirable. So we need to put in place rewards or incentives or the social and or other capital to make that activity desirable. And then the second aspect is to challenge people to live to a higher standard, to keep the bar high and to keep driving it forward. So that's the surpassing your limits. So often we assume that people don't have abilities. By the time that you start assuming that they do have those abilities and you're asking them to act on it, you are always frustrated when they don't. But if we don't give people the opportunities and we don't expect them to perform in a different way, then they don't. Okay. So the book goes on to look at how we can harness peer pressure and finding strength in numbers to attack ever larger problems, and also to utilize the strength in teams to get tasks done. Okay. And as a last level, there is talking about how rewards demand accountability, and also why certain reward systems often fail. and how we can change the environment. This, together with the remainder of the framework of the book, gives us a very powerful set of views on how things get together. And one of the ideas in the book is that we need to take at least 4 of these factors and combine them to really make a difference on people's motivation. So the remainder of the book really deals with how we set clarifiable and measurable results, what makes a result framework work. And surprisingly, it's not a balanced scorecard. It's about finding a very clear and defined specific thing that has to be achieved within a specific time frame, and making sure that we are building our organization to achieve that specific objective. And a very fascinating whole dimension of the book is around finding vital behaviors. What are those key things which could change the game? Key things that at key times can make a big difference, and going to move on that. So at Steenberg Graduate Institute, we really like the ideas in the influencer book. It goes well with what we're doing in some of our courses, leadership and emotional intelligence, managing organizations, and a new program that we've got, which is a post-MBA look at how organizational development integrates the flow in an organization, called biometrics. The biometrics organizational development system uses many of the similar ideas to influencer and vice versa, although it's totally independent, and we find that these two ideas support each other well. In terms of the Executive Book Club, we invite you to every second Thursday at 12:30 South African Standard Time. Join us to talk through a book where we read for you. Either one of our staff members or the author talks through how this book can affect your organization, and we will be delighted to see you at the next session. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye.